this shit just never lets up. And it's coming to the point where it's becoming so frustrating for me now. You know, it's just like, it never ends, man. It never fucking ends. It never ends. It's just endless. One thing happens, another thing happens, another thing happens, and they just keep piling up.
Check.
Yeah, the jury's looking at this going, really?
This is like high school debate.
We hear about how,
check mark.
oh, this vicious kick that, if you watch it live, did not seem to make much contact. Spun him 180 degrees. That is Kyle tracking him with the gun and shooting at him. He's moving as he's moving. That is not the force of the kick. And the video makes that clear. But again, we're grasping at straws and we're throwing out red herrings.
You are.
Confession.
You are.
Yes. Here we
The
go.
jury just agreed with you there, buddy.
And now a skateboard is a deadly weapon.
Yeah.
Yes.
It is, actually. Can be.
Someone should tell all the parents and grandparents and Santa Claus getting skateboards this Christmas about how they're giving their children a deadly weapon. I guess they should get them an AR-15 instead.
What?
It's just preposterous.
Come
And
on.
yes,
Close
Mr.
it,
Huber
your
was
rebuttal
acting
is
heroic
preposterous.
and holding down that and taking that skateboard and trying to hold him down and trying to take that gun. And what happened?
Either side should have pushed for
The gun
heroism.
stayed attached to Mr. Rittenhouse.
Yeah.
Because when the defense concocted this, they were trying to take my gun story. They left out that it is literally strapped to him.
So
He shot an unarmed man 4 times because he was so scared that Mr. Rosenbaum was going to take the gun away from him when it was attached to him. It's an absolute red herring. It is an absolute ridiculous argument. Imminent threat. Not, oh, in 5 minutes after we get beat up, then I might be a threat. Imminent threat.
Seems pretty imminent to me.
The imminence is
When
the
was there
action.
5 minutes ever?
Well,
The
yeah.
whole event was less than
You've heard all
5
the
minutes.
videos. I'm not going to go into it any more great length, but when you listen to the crowd as Mr. Rittenhouse is running, they start yelling after as he's running when they're screaming, "Get him." Also, as people
Thanks
are
for
approaching him
highlighting
at
that
the
point.
end, they're asking, "Why did you shoot him? Why did you shoot him?"
He
These
should
are
have
people that
stopped
were
and had a
provoked
discourse
because
with
they
them.
witnessed an attack or heard shots or heard he was attacking, and they took action. As Mr. Bringer said, I probably wouldn't do it either. But that they did it is brave,
Stunning
and they
and
did
brave.
not deserve to be killed.
Nice.
Thank you.
Check.
Kyle Rittenhouse has as strong ties to Kenosha, but he needs Google Maps to find a business he says he's driven by every day. He supposedly knows Kenosha so well and is such a familiar with Kenosha
In fairness, I use
that he doesn't
Google
realize you
Maps
can
to drive around
walk
my
one
town.
block either way to get back to the car source. He didn't want to go back to the car source. He wanted to go see what was going on.
This is cringy
He
now.
wanted to stay in the action.
Yeah.
He wanted to
Just
continue
now?
to do things that would make him feel big and make him feel important.
try to make the rioters out to be
Okay.
heroes in front of
I'm
a
actually
Kenosha
sorry.
jury.
I'm actually
that.
starting to feel bad for Kraus now. That's
I'm
These
not-
minor
I
injuries
don't.
we've heard.
He
the
can
defendant
stop
have.
this at any
When
when I
time.
say feel bad,
Again,
I'm saying
The-
it looks so
the-
Mr.
pitiful.
Richards
It's humiliating.
misstated.
If he ate a Snickers, he
Standard.
would magically turn into
It
Bingo.
is not
It'd be
could have
amazing.
caused great bodily harm or death. It is not
I don't know. I
likely
think he's
to
had a
have
few
caused
Snickers.
great bodily harm or death. It is imminent threat of death or great bodily harm.
It's reasonable belief in that imminent threat.
Yeah.
Where is that when you get a couple scrapes?
Really?
Everybody takes a beating sometimes, right? Sometimes
No!
you get
Oh,
a scuffle and maybe you do get hurt a little bit.
Oh my god!
That doesn't mean you get
Take
to
a
start
beating.
plugging people with your full metal jacket AR-15 rounds and no, bullets are not bullets.
That's the
And we
state's
heard
case.
testimony about that.
It's your duty to take a beating.
No, you didn't. Did not hear testimony
Wow,
about
that was moronic.
Mr. Richards mentioned this in opening, but apparently he's noticed that the evidence doesn't bear it out. He talks about this, how Mr. Rosenbaum put this shirt over his head to hide his identity because he's going to go ambush Kyle Rittenhouse. Well, then obviously watch the videos. He's had that shirt on his head for some time. Whether it's COVID, this is all pre-vaccine, as we know. Whether it's
COVID
gas,
somehow.
fire, whatever it is, He's using it to protect his face, not as some evil plan to get
How do
Kyle
you
Rittenhouse.
Testifying.
They're setting this fire, and they begin walking down Sheridan. There's no
This
evidence
30
that they knew
minutes
he
was
was
up
coming.
30
There's no
minutes ago.
evidence that they had any plan to get.
Just a short rebuttal.
We knew this was going to happen. We knew it was going to
I
happen.
submit to you that the Zeminskis and Mr. Rosenbaum
30
were doing
minutes
what they
was
were doing all
BS.
night. They were going to
I
go
just can't
bash
even
that
tell what order
Duramax
he's
or
going in. I don't
start
think
or
Richard-
stoke a fire.
Okay, good.
They
Kyle
did
sees
you
this
see
find,
the
and
clerk?
there
he
There
was
runs
a
onto the
fire
scene.
in the
That's clear in the
Duramax.
FBI video. He runs onto the scene.
Look at the clerk's face.
He puts down the fire extinguisher.
Look at the
He
bailiff.
raises up his gun.
Yeah.
Mr. Rosenbaum yells, gun, gun, gun. Why else would he yell that? It's very possible that while he was yelling friendly, 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 he's doing so while holding a loaded AR-15 at the Zeminskis.
Oh, whoa.
Whoa.
Not in evidence.
Mr.
Not at all.
Rosenbaum
It's a little
was
bit of
going to
evidence.
chase him out of there
Thanks to the defense.
to end the danger.
The defense has to object to that.
And Mr.
stuff.
Richards boasts
Yep.
No.
that, something along the lines, you won't do shit, motherfucker. Well, Mr. Rosenbaum was wrong. Oh, that's an attaboy right there. Way to kill someone unarmed because you won't engage them.
What?
What?
Huh?
What?
What?
What do you mean?
What are you talking about? He's saying you should fight them. With his
He
fist.
raises the gun. He provokes the attack. He has to retreat. He has to exhaust all remedies
He does
before he
not.
can
I
use,
think that
before he
mistakes
regains the
the
right
law.
to even
Is he
use
saying
self-defense.
he raises
Not
the gun
even
in the
to
actual
use deadly
encounter
force.
is
That's a whole
provocation
other
now?
separate question. He does regain the use of right self-defense if he exhausts all options. He does not. He could have ran a different way. He could have fought. He had all sorts of different ways
He could
to
have ran a
exhaust his
different
options.
way?
He did not do it. As I said in the beginning of my closing,
This is
I don't think
really
you even need
straight troll.
provocation. An unarmed man chasing you
I don't even
And
think
you
you
shoot
need
him 4
provocation.
times
Suggest something about what you
as
think
he's
of that
falling,
argument.
you kill him as he's falling in front of you because you don't want to physically defend yourself.
What?
That's first degree reckless homicide right there.
What?
And Mr.
Wow.
And notice they went
Richards kind of plays
to
games with the name
homicide,
reckless.
Not
Reckless means not intentional.
They're not aimed
This
at
is-
intentional.
Blatant misstatements of the law.
Yeah.
I
Yes.
mean, this
Oh,
guy.
yeah.
They've massacred self-defense.
Blatant misstatements of the
Intentional in
law
this
and the facts.
And you can read the
Um,
jury instructions. You can come to your own conclusions.
Just idiotic. It's so.
And
that- I mean,
expired
these
AR-15
things aren't
in
really
any
that
circumstance like
concluded.
this shows utter disregard for human life. There's no other explanation for it. If you're shooting an AR-15 at close range of people, you have no disregard for human life.
Oh, there we go.
Uh,
You have
That's
no
That's
discharge
not really in
That's
any
not what you meant
dispute.
to say.
It's not what he
Oh.
meant to say, but it is what he said.
Yep.
Freudian slip.
I want to leave you with this. The meaning of reasonable doubt. I'm going to read portions of this instruction. Obviously, you'll have the whole instruction.
Yeah, please state it
The
accurately.
term reasonable doubt means a doubt based upon reason and common sense. It is a doubt for which a reason can be given.
Common sense is that you should take a beating.
A reasonable doubt is not a doubt which is based on mere guesswork or speculation.
which we've
That's
invited
what the
you to
defense
do
is asking you to
throughout
do.
this.
To guess what Mr.
A lot of
Rosenbaum was
speculation
doing.
here from the
To speculate what Mr. Rosenbaum was doing. To speculate and guess what Mr. Huber and this unidentified man were doing. We don't know because he killed 2 of them. All we can look at is the evidence and see him standing pretty much straight up or exactly straight up when he was shot in the hip and immobilized.
Yeah, I thought they'd swing back on
A
Richard.
doubt which arises merely from sympathy or from fear to return a verdict of guilt is not a reasonable doubt.
Yep.
The defense's whole case has been trying to stoke sympathy for Mr. Rittenhouse and showing how everyone else was just a terrible person.
That doesn't play.
Every
That
life
wasn't
counts.
an
Every
emotional
life
closing.
matters. If people
all
did bad
lives
things that
matter?
night,
Not a
they
good
could have been
look, Kraus.
prosecuted. It's not up for Mr. Rittenhouse to be the judge, the jury, and eventually the executioner. A reasonable doubt is not a doubt such as may be used to escape the responsibility of a decision.
Yeah,
He's challenging the jury.
There's a lot going on in this case.
I know.
We all know that.
This
We all
is
knew
a
that from the day we walked
terrible
in
rebuttal.
on November 1st.
Awful.
Oh man.
But this verdict should be about what the facts are and what Mr. Rittenhouse did.
Agreed.
That's
Okay.
what the 12 of you who go to deliberate will go and decide. You are the fact finders. You decide what is beyond a reasonable doubt. You decide what he is guilty or not guilty of from this menu of options that you now have.
You familiar with menus, sir?
Is it like a Chinese menu?
An imminent threat.
God, now I want Chinese.
The only
food.
imminent threat that night
Kinda, yeah.
was Mr. Rittenhouse.
They're closed on Monday here, Kurt.
He was not acting in legal, justified self-defense.
You are in a small town.
He's guilty. Thank you.
Wow.
Mr. Krause.
Okay.
The last 2
Members of the
minutes.
jury, the
was
time
part
has
of
now
his
come when
rebuttal.
the great burden of reaching a just,
But were they
fair,
paying
and
attention?
conscientious decision
I
in this
wasn't.
case will be placed wholly with you jurors selected for this most important duty. You will not be swayed by sympathy, passion, prejudice, or political beliefs. You will disregard any impression which you may have regarding what you believe to be my opinions on the guilt or innocence of the defendant. You will disregard the claims or opinions of any other person or news media or social networking site. You will pay
Not
no
ours.
heed
Like
to
YouTubies?
the opinions of anyone, even the President of the United States or the President before him.
Nice.
The founders of our country gave you
And
and
Maxine Waters.
you alone the power and the duty to decide this case based solely on the evidence presented in this court. You will fearlessly keep faith with those who have entrusted to you the fair rendition of justice and the protection of our freedom. You will be very careful and deliberate in weighing the evidence. I charge you to keep your duties steadfastly in mind and as upright citizens to return just and true verdicts. You will decide only whether the defendant is guilty or not guilty of the offenses which are charged. Any consequences of your verdict are matters for me alone to decide and must not affect your deliberations. It will be for
So he
you to
would do
determine
sentencing?
whether the defendant is guilty or not guilty as to each of the offenses charged or
good.
submitted. You
These are
must
the
make a
standard-
finding as to each count of the information. Each count charges
Charges
a
to the
separate
jury.
crime,
Wait,
and you
before they
must
go
consider
deliberate.
each one separately. Your
Wonder
verdict
if
for the
that's
crime charged
guilty
in one
for
count
tonight.
must not affect your verdict on any other.
Yeah, don't
This is a criminal
negotiate.
and not a civil case, and therefore, before you can reach a verdict which may lawfully be received, it must be reached unanimously. In a criminal case, all 12 jurors must agree in order to arrive at a verdict. When you retire to the jury room, select one of your members to preside over your deliberations. That presiding juror's vote is not entitled to any greater weight than that of any other juror. We're going to stop at this point, and I'm going to ask that you return tomorrow. I'm going to let you take a vote. When you want to start tomorrow, you could choose 8, you can choose 8:30, you can choose 9.
9.
How
10.
many would be in
9 sounds
favor of
good.
starting at 8:30? How many want to start at 9? I missed 8, didn't I? How many still want to start at 8? How many would like to start at 9?
9 sounds good.
All right, that's the clear consensus. Well, it's not a consensus. But, clear plurality, probably majority, I think. And so we'll start at 9 tomorrow, as we have been.
So, Joe Rogan in the house. Alex Jones, ladies and gentlemen, right about basically everything. Finally, it's all coming down. The truth is coming out.
So Thomas Jefferson was in the Illuminati.
Bunch of demons. Joe Rogan is the 46th president of the United States. I smell sulfur.
Oh my God.